Today we're going to talk about care and maintenance of a hot tub. Some of you have hot tubs. This is probably our fourth hot tub, and so we've learned a lot about hot tub ownership, and we're going to just share some of those ideas with you. First thing I want to talk about is the cover. Probably one of the most important things is maintaining the quality of the cover. And I'm going to show you a couple of locks that we have in place. So I'm going to walk around this side. From a safety standpoint, we've got locks on both sides, and this side is where the wind comes, so we always make sure these are latched. But they're very easy to install. You've got a couple screws. You can push the button there to release it, push this one to release it, and this is really important from a safety standpoint. Okay, so now that we've unhooked it, we can unfold it, and you can see this is two parts. I didn't hook the back latch. It's easy to lift this up. The thing about hot tub covers is you want to maintain them because they do protect your hot tub, they keep it safe, and over time it's going to start to absorb water. So we'll put this aside. Next thing I want to talk about here is this thermal blanket. Now, the thing about a thermal blanket is a lot of people think they're just to keep the water warm, and that is one of their purposes. But another real purpose of this thermal blanket is to protect the cover. As the hot air rises, the hot water rises, it's going to get into your cover. So this thermal blanket keeps that from happening or minimizes it. And you can see it covers the whole water. It's basically about $25, $30 online, and I replace it about once every year, once every 2 years. It'll start to break down and you'll know when to replace it. As I mentioned, this is probably our fourth hot tub, and you can see it's a pretty basic hot tub. It's Aquaterra. It's rated at 5 to 6 people, but in reality it's probably closer to 4. You better be pretty friendly to get 6 people in with you, but it's mainly for my wife and myself. It's very simple. It's got about 20 some jets. It has a little water feature. It has colored lights and things like that, and that's really all that matters to us. We use it to kind of warm up and soak and relax in the wintertime, and in the summer you can actually let the water cool down and be a soaking tub for yourself. There's lots of tubs out there, so find one that meets your needs. The reason we went with a very simple style, you can get them with fancy lights, lots of jets, stereo sounds, but the reality is I can have the Bluetooth speaker on the side. If I want to listen to music, I can have all kinds of bells and whistles, but we just wanted a basic soaking tub for our evenings. Okay, so why you probably dialed into our channel is to learn more about the water maintenance and how to balance things so you can actually enjoy your tub. We found there's a number of products out there. I'm just displaying a few here that you'll probably use, and you can get anywhere from your local big box store to your spa supply store and online. So search around. But basic things like your oxidizer, your pH, your anti-foam. We use bromine tablets in our floater here, our little duck we call Quack. We just fill him up about once a week and he keeps the water clean for us. You can use chlorine if you want. Arm & Hammer baking soda is really good for checking your water, and when it gets a little bit hard it does soften things up. This is a little fish tank net that we use for cleaning. You don't need a big one, but it does come in handy. And then finally the test strips. This will really help you check your water, and I recommend doing it probably about once a week because the water balance, the cleanliness, and so on is really going to help you use your tub when you really want to use it. If it's not good water or it's got some green tint to it, you're probably not going to get in there. So I would encourage you to test it on a regular basis. So why don't we do that now? All right, well, we're going to test the water. Right now it looks like it's in pretty good shape, but there's always some questions about the balance. One thing I really like is the test strips, and these are, again, with all of your other spa products. They look like that. And what you do is you put it in the water. I usually swirl it around about 5-6 times, leave it in the water, and then pull it out, and don't shake it off, just let it sit. And the instructions are on here, and it says to wait about 15 seconds, but typically within about 5 to 10 seconds you'll see the strip starting to change color, and on the back of the test strip container is the different measurements that you're going to be looking for. And all you do is you lay this across there. So the first one is total hardness. And you can see that first box is kind of a lighter color. Okay, the second one is total chlorine or bromine, and as I mentioned, we use bromine, others like the chlorine. but that should be in that medium green. It looks pretty good. The free chlorine is pretty high right now. You can see it's towards the high end of the scale, so that's in pretty good shape. That'll come down over time. The pH balance, you can see the pH right now is blue, and it should be in that orangish yellow or orange to red. So we're going to address that here in a moment. Total alkaline, and then stabilizer, that's on the low end there. Okay, so this is a great way of testing your water, getting a sense of the condition you're in, and then we're going to add some chemicals to help balance it out. As I mentioned, we have a fairly basic tub, probably 20 to 30 jets. You see different controls we'll talk about here in a moment, but before we actually do anything with the water, now that we've tested it, I want to clean the filter. And like all tubs, you have at least one, sometimes they have two filters. They have jets, but for this one it only has one. I'm going to show you how to remove it. This one, you just turn the large ring until it comes loose, and you'll remove this section first. Now the filter is down there, so I'm going to put this aside. I'll probably spray that off. I'll take a look at it. But right in here is a filter that, again, you just loosen, you unscrew it, and you can replace these, but they typically last quite a while. It's a material, plastic material filter. It's got a handle on there. And all I want to do is take the hose or the sink and clean this out. Okay, so as I mentioned, there's lots of spas out there, and the four that we've owned, we've had two that are 220 volt and others that are 110 volt. And 110 and the 220 both require a dedicated circuit. And so I had an electrician come out and install this breaker panel. It's a dedicated 220, and you can see the breaker switch is here, but also at the main panel in my house there's a dedicated circuit. I can turn it off here without going into the house if I need to. So this is here. I'll show you the control panel. On this particular spa, against a fairly simple spa, you've got a screen for your temperature. It also tells you if you have a problem, so there's air codes that will come up. You have your temperature up, your temperature down, you have your light controller, and you have your pump. Now during the summer we typically keep it around 101, 102 because the daytime is a little bit warmer. During the winter time, 102, 103, we can stay in it for anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes, and that's just about right. Okay, we've cleaned the filter. We know what adjustments we need to make to the water. I've added some bromine tablets to Quack, our floating bromine distributor, and I want to make sure that I check the holes here, because if these are closed, guess what? No water's getting in there, so the bromine's not going to work. So I always make sure that these are open. He's tight, he's ready to go. I'm going to put him back in the water. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of shock and a little bit of pH down, because that's what the test strip indicated. But to do that, I always want to turn a little bit of pump on. So I'm going to turn that on. It's going to make a little noise, not too loud, just to get the air circulating. So you can see the water's flowing. I'm going to take the shock oxidizer, read the instructions. It looks like about 2 capfuls. So I'm going to fill this up. And I'm going to turn on the jets to the high pressure. And then I'm going to slowly shake that in there. Now the shock and oxidizer actually stimulates the water, so it's more receptive to the bromine, the pH controls. So I'll put that in first. You can see the water starting to bubble up a little bit. That's okay. The next thing I want to do is put a little bit of pH down, because again the test strip indicated the pH was a little bit high, and you're going to feel that on your skin. It gets a little bit hard, so the pH typically will be on the high side. So I'm going to put a cap in there, again similar to the shock. I'm going to add that. Now I'm going to let this circulate for about 15 minutes. It'll automatically go off, and I'm going to test it again in a couple hours. But hot tubbing is one of our favorite things to do, particularly on colder evenings. If you maintain it, maintain the water level and quality, you're going to use it. It's great for entertaining, sharing it with your friends. But like I said, it's mainly my wife and I that use it. And sometimes we'll just sit quietly in warm water in an evening and look at the stars. Okay, we've balanced the water and we noticed that there was a little bit of foam on the surface. This isn't uncommon. What I want to do is use our anti-foam here, and that'll help settle out the water, soften it up, eliminate some of the foam. So I'm going to turn the jet back on, and according to the instructions, it's 1 teaspoon for every 200 gallons. This is about a 500-gallon tub. So I'll do about 2 capfuls. That should help with the foam. And then again, later we'll be ready to go. So I'll turn the jets on. This is a liquid product, kind of like soap. Again, I'll pull it in front of the jet. I'm going to go with just 2 capfuls right now. If I need to add a little bit more later, I will, but we'll see how this goes. So one thing I always want to make sure we do is also make sure the water level is the right height. For this tub, you see the neck rest here. Typically the water is at the base of the neck rest if you look all the way around the tub. This is where we try to typically keep it. If it's below that, which it will evaporate and reduce over time, you just add the garden hose to it, fill it up to that level, circulate the water, and you'll be fine. Just don't let it drain too low. And as you add more bodies, obviously the water level is going to go up.